Okay, that would be fine.
Yeah, do also share.
Okay, guys. So,
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to join on my laptop, Samuel.
okay, fine. I understand. Let's join so that we can beat this printf. Oh, he joined twice. Oh, your camera seems to be having an issue.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think so. Just hold on. It's kind of reloading. It's still loading. It shows blank at the moment. I can't even see the screen like it's blank. I think it's loading.
Okay. So, so if I may ask, I may ask how for Mojalefa. So, may I ask how have you guys started your printf project? Mojalefa and Abdos. Have you started your printf project? You can unmute yourselves. Abdos.
Stiani?
Yes, yes, I am here. Sorry.
Okay, I was
Oh,
asking.
you're trying to join it your phone.
I was asking.
Yeah.
Have you guys started with on your printf project? Have you tried it?
No, bro. I am still not started yet, but because I am still ready. I take a breath to start it.
Why haven't
And
you started?
also my partner is not here. It's I don't know where is my partner.
Why, did you were randomly paired with your partner, right?
What do you say, Inksy?
I was asking if you are randomly paired or if you chose your partner yourself.
Yes, I'm chose it, but my partner is lazy. Is so lazy.
Okay, that's fine. So what I would
Yes,
advise you
it's
to do.
yeah. It's still me. Just let us to do that copy paste and paste.
Well, I mean, if you copy paste, even if you the problem with copy pasting is that you won't be able to learn.
Yeah, it's if I do copy paste, I shit in myself.
Yeah, you'll be cheating yourself. You won't be able to learn, and most certainly, you won't be able to become the engineer you want to be, and that's the only problem with copy pasting. Otherwise, because getting 100 or 200% is not really the goal of the issue. If you can't really explain yourself and if you don't know what you're doing, you won't be able to get the bugs that
Yeah.
may occur and such things. Anyway, so how about Mojalefa? Have you started your printf project yet?
Yeah, yeah, I've started. Actually, when we started yesterday, let's say Friday, and yesterday we were preparing, like gathering information and so on. So this morning we started with the first two tasks, right? We started with the checking two checks, right? The check one and two, zero and one. So we figured out that our file should work all, like it should be able to compile all of them. So we fixed that, and then
Yes.
some of the checks were not ticked then. So I think that we have to like find out other cases to uh, like find other cases our printf can handle. So we've been struggling that in that the whole day.
Okay, so that's actually a very good thing, and I would help you with that. So the challenge I think you guys are having. So Mojalefa, now that you understand printf, I think you
Yeah,
realize it returns the characters it's printing to the standard output, right?
yeah, yeah, it does.
Okay. So you need to, and it handles different test cases. So you need to develop a test case for how you'll be testing your printf. So Abdos, Abdos, are you
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
call? Okay, so let's first develop a test case for which we'll be testing our printf before Destiny begins taking us through variadic functions. So you
Okay.
understand that printf is a variadic
Yes.
function. But then allow me to share my screen for a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is not the internet, this is not the sandbox that Julian gave us, but then it's a virtual machine that uses Linux. So I'll try to work with you so that we develop a test case here. It runs on
Okay.
Ubuntu. So can you guys see my screen fine?
Yeah, yeah. We can.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So let's start. Let's see. So you need the printf statement, the printf function. It handles a lot of test cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The normal one, not ours, right?
Oh,
We
okay. So
use.
yours should also work like the normal printf statement. Actually, it
Yes,
should work
yes.
like the normal printf statement. Now let's
Yeah.
see. For example, most guys are VI users. So let's say v test. So let's see. So for example, let's say for example, you want your printf to. This is why I dislike VI. Okay. So let's start. So okay now. So first off, for your test file, you need to include the standard input output header file, obviously for the printf. So what you need to be doing is that you need to be testing your printf against the original printf provided in the standard output.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So for
This is
on
an
my case,
example.
I was like making a case with my printf, and on the bottom I was making the same case with the printf.
With your printf, right?
Yeah.
Which cases were you considering actually?
Okay. Let me look at my file. I'll tell you now. So now there were a couple of cases I was looking at. So let's say for the first task, the task 0, right? I
Yes.
was I was looking for, like, is it able to print all of the alphabets? Yes, it did. So like uh like, does it when it encounters a percent, just a percent, is it going to search for a specifier?
Okay.
Another case is for, like, if it is a percent and a space afterwards, does it return it,
Yeah,
or
what
is
it
it a
does, right?
percent? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, is it a percent? And there was other case where it was a percent backslash 0. Yeah, those are the ones that I tested on. Oh, I also made a loop. I also made a loop that like made, like, it was an I started a ASCII value from, let me look, let me check, ASCII value from 0 to 127, just to check if it is able to print all the characters there. So it
Yeah.
did. So now I just don't know which cases am I missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's. So I'm trying to. I'm developing a simple test case to check the return value. So you're supposed to check what the printf prints and what the return value is, right?
Yeah, yeah. Also the return values. Yeah, the return values were matching with the normal printf.
That's actually good. So
Yeah.
So let's start. So you start. So let's make a simple test case and see for ourselves. Okay. So obviously, so in this case, len 1 and len 2, we have len 1 and len 2. Sorry for forgetting that here. So len 1, len 2. So of course, you'll be when you compile, you'll be compiling with this main or with a test case that includes this main. Actually, I think we should develop a test case for ourselves so that you can use it. You can use it for your code as you are doing your coding. Okay,
Yeah.
a moment so that I admit somebody. Okay, so for example, in this particular case, I've started with a simple sentence and I'm checking what the standard printf returns and what mine will return. So this statement would, for example, would just simply check the return statement of the standard printf against yours. So you pass the argument for the standard printf, then yours. So is that fine? Okay. Now obviously let me now not use the Betty style. Let me not use Bessie style checker. Then after that, what the other thing is that we need to check up for is the edge cases. For example, so if you have to pass a string, so let's for example see task one. So if we start to say string, string, trial one, okay, then you come and say a character s and you give it a value t, right? So
Yeah.
when you do this, you check for the printf. So you say len equals printf. So this is what you should be doing. You should just be checking. But when you're developing a test case, test it. Oh, okay, let
Hold
me
on.
lost. Destiny. Oh, Destiny is not in the call yet. So once you do that, you keep checking. You keep checking for the age cases. Now I'm sure, for example, this is a simple sentence. Now I haven't recorded the printf, and therefore I can't test this particular function. But if I were to use mine actually, think I should just. I think let me show you how okay, I did it. It's still in my sandbox, and I think this test case is still in my sandbox. But then let's just develop a new one with you. So okay, so you have that. Then you pass the string str, right?
Yeah.
Then you do the same for your printf. So you see now these test cases they're actually pretty long, and and then if we manage to develop one within the hour that we have, within the 40 minutes that we have, I could actually give it to you so that you actually use it to test your printf.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then as you do that, just remember that when you push your code to GitHub, remember to remove the main function. The main function is there to help you test. If you push it with the main function is in the test suite that you are printing.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it won't
I
it won't
created
work.
a different directory for that
It will fail
for
to
testing
compile.
different cases. Yeah.
So let's see. You pass the same particular string. Then again, you come down, you print out the return values. So say so for formatting. So we are not handling special characters yet for task one, and okay, so I'm putting a new line there. So you simply let's copy this method w. Okay, let's just write it down. It. I think I should just be copying this. I mean, instead of typing them, too much tedious. Return. And then d /. And then that would be it. So so when the next time I'll just go back and copy it. So are you guys following? Are you seeing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So
I'm
are
still
we simply
following.
developing a test case?
Yes, just go ahead.
Okay. So now we're checking for the how for the string. Okay, so let's see. Sorry. Okay. So why is it not copying yet? Okay. Let's see. So that for the third case, let's test to the character. So first, let me check if someone wants to join the call. Oh, no one wants to join the call. Let's take it to the character. Okay. Then we pass the character to S. Because
You haven't declared S yet.
you say,
Oh, I see. I thought you didn't declare S. I see it now.
uh, in fact, this is redundant. No, and I initialized it to T.
Okay, okay. I see it.
Okay. And you pass the same character that you passed. Okay.
Yeah.
So this way, you'll be able to check for the normal one. Okay. So now Visual Studio Code is not a great text editor, but it will actually help with the copying and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that I will be able to go faster. And this machine is slow because I'm actually using a virtual machine as opposed to my to an
Yeah,
original.
yeah.
So it's a bit slow, and you'll forgive me for that. So
Okay.
that's that. Now,
And I've noticed it. I thought it wasn't taking any input from the mouse.
well, for Emacs and Emacs and VI are more like they don't usually use the mouse a lot because they are what do they call them? V is the model text editor, but those ones are more command line based. So okay, I don't think so. You can see in this case the command line. You can still type another command. For example, you can still type ls. But when you're using Emacs, yeah, the command line will stop until you exit Emacs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me admit someone else into the call. So we're testing with a character. Then we're supposed to route test. Okay, so let's see. let's say what happens when, okay, that's one text case. And of course we need to return this, okay, and then two, and we do the same thing. Actually, we pass the same argument. Say what happens, sorry about that. I think you said, so for, you said that this test case yours passed, right? Then
Sorry.
for the test case when the percent sign is not followed by anything, you said
Yeah,
yours was fine, right?
yeah, yeah. A percent
Okay.
with a space, a percent, a percent with a new. It's like a percent backslash and zero.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. And did you test the for the test case when the percent sign is followed by something that is not a, or is called, it's not a conversion specifier?
Uh, I never thought of that. Me like I was like maybe if I put any letter like next to the percent, maybe it's a specifier for something. Uh, so meaning if I can test that if it's any other letter like percent a, which is not
Yeah.
a specifier,
Yeah,
just
it's
to
not a
check it out
specifier.
if it prints it.
You should check. You should check what happens against the original printf. I think the instruction said your printf should work just like the original printf, right?
Oh yeah. I didn't thought of that specifier there. I mean putting any letter next to the percent.
Yeah. Like in this case, you've given a as an argument, so that's the one we'll use actually. So let me remove that.
And also to add to that, a good rule of thumb is this: try
You
as
say?
much as we can to break try as much as we can to break your own printf. So whatever thing you think might cause any misbehavior, like writing percent, try that as well. Try any kind of thing that's going to likely break your printf. Try check out how the original printf behaves with that, and try to implement that behavior in your case. I hope you understand. Try to break your printf. Try percent q. I don't know if percent q means anything. You try
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like percent q. Try percent q. Try d percent.
Okay.
So just try as much as you can, or percent space d. Try as much as you can to break your own printf,
Then
so
then
that your printer misbehaves and you get to fix it. I hope you understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't
No.
don't just say, hey, I do percent D works fine. Yes. So
but
don't
then
just say I do percent D and percent D works fine. Then you'll feel relaxed with that. Yes, Samuel, I can hear you.
no, I was just saying. So for the cases when for the format specifiers, there's another case that I think you guys are not looking into. When null is passed, for example, when the character passed
Yeah.
is null, like when the string passed. So, okay, let me just declare it up here, but it's not good practice to
You can
declare.
use some examples. Use some examples to just show them instead of writing them all. You've written enough
Yes,
test cases.
yes.
Okay, we both
I
know
You've
that.
written
also
enough.
tried that. I also tried that one where we say print f is now. I also did that with like on our code when we were like trying to code for characters no for strings, right? uh we said string is if string is null, it should be equals to null in brackets, right?
Yeah, it should
That's
print
what
null. That's what the original
the
printf
normal
does.
printf does.
Okay, that, yeah, if it's null, the original printf usually prints null, and then
Yeah.
it also returns a value. So does it? So you should check if it counts the number of, if it counts the null that it prints. So let's see, for example, here. Oh, no. For example, in this case, when you have, when you use the C compiler there, and okay, so that then what's the null string that we have on top here? And this function is getting way too long. Str string.
I think you've written enough test cases. Do you need to add all of them? Because I think most of these are already just I think you should leave post for them to like hey
To
think
come
and
up with the rest themselves, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think they should like hey try to come up with the rest test cases themselves and be like try to think to break your printf.
yeah, that would be nice actually. So these these are template of what your test case will be looking at. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
another thing. So you check, for example, what happens when when your printer, for example, not when an argument passed is null, but when what is it called? Is it called when nothing is passed? For example, when you're not printing anything to the screen. So let me try to see that. Okay, let me close this first. Okay, and that's so when you're not when you're not printing anything to the screen, like here,
Yeah. Yeah.
when it's
I
just
never
empty like that, when it's null.
when we
Have you
were
checked?
testing, we didn't test that one for if it is
It's nothing that is
it,
passed, right?
yeah, when nothing is passed.
Okay. But then I think you've seen how your test suite needs to look like. So you print it out with the original printf, then you print it out with your printf, and then you count the number of characters. So in this case here, it would be, let's see. So that's just that. So let's see what happens. So you see, in this case, there's nothing that is passed to the
Yeah. Yeah.
printf argument. And then,
Nothing is printed.
wait, let it finish compiling first. Then we'll see what happens. Then when you pass the wrong arguments and such. So for example, if the character that you're passing, when it's null, what happens when it's null, and what does printf return? Check those test cases and then make your printf do it like that. So I've done everything on the test suite. So you just need to think, and that's the so that would so another tip is that for task 1 and task 2, you won't be using the same test cases because task 1 focuses on the character, the string, the percent, just those. For task 2, it focuses on integers. So you'll create another test suite for integers and see how it goes. And the same goes for the other tasks. If for those who will be choosing to go to the advanced tasks after you've printed your integer and unsigned integers. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So
Okay.
Destiny.
Thank you very much.
So any other question, any other problem that you might be having?
Okay. So I'm going to ask about the files, right? The test files. The one, no, not the test file. The helper files. Like maybe like we have a file one where it has the printf function, our printf function, right?
Yes.
So should we have different files for different tasks, or like how are we going to create the files? Like maybe like we're gonna create a file for printing strings and characters. we
Yes.
we read the codes there, but we have to reference it on the our main file, right? The printf file. Is it going to be that way, or we're going to make files for every task?
I understand the question. We understand your question. We understand your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you answer him, Destiny? But it's a good question. You might answer him, nothing.
Okay. Yes. I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Destiny.
Okay.
I think he's
Okay.
breaking.
So I think I understand your question. You're asking for cases when
We're going to have.
you have to create multiple files, multiple functions that all have to be compiled together,
I don't
right?
know. Can you hear me, Samuel? Can you hear me, Samuel?
Yeah, right now
Yeah.
we can hear you.
You
Thank
can
you
have
for
you
coming
if you're
back.
implementing. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah, but you're breaking. We can hear you, but your voice is breaking. Okay, you can continue, Azumbo.
Okay, so as I was saying, so you understand how Betty works, the Betty style of coding, in that you're not supposed to have more than 5 functions in a file, right?
Yes, yeah,
So you're asking if you can, if you have to, if you can have multiple files, okay?
yes,
But then you understand how it works. So they'll just be compiled together. But you just make sure you follow the Betty style guidelines. You're not supposed to have multiple functions per file, more than 5 functions in a file, because Betty usually checks against that. Now, so what I would advise you are supposed to create multiple files, of course, and I think you're supposed to create multiple files, and after you create those multiple files, you compile them together. Each function that is defined in a file, of course, your header file, I would advise you just have one header file. There's no need for multiple header files, and then include them in all the files that you'll be having. So you don't need to create multiple. You don't need to cram all your functions into one file. Just have multiple files that have related functions in each. Okay.
okay. So
So
now,
have
in
you
the
have I answered your
in
question?
that, yeah, you have actually put it right on the spot. So the other question is,
Yes.
uh, because now it's a collaborative uh, group, it's a collaborative project. So
Yes.
now, let's say, like I understand the concept of Git, right? So let's say we are sharing the tasks, me and my partner. I'm
Yes.
doing the first eight, she's doing the second eight, right? So now
Okay.
we're sharing files. So I mean tasks. So let's say we're going to update each file because now maybe the later tasks deals with if the specifier deals with the width, the precision, and so on, right?
Okay.
And then you need to update that specifier on it. Like maybe like the first the my tasks are dependent on like head tasks are dependent on me finishing up my first eight. So how are we going to work around that?
So if I understand you correctly, you're asking how you'll be working on the same tasks.
Yes.
on the same file actually, right?
Yeah, on the
If you
same
have
file.
if you have to
Yeah,
have, so we have these things, they're called merge conflicts. Okay,
yeah.
Martin did a video. I'm going to be sending a link. So you're going to have merge conflicts. In fact, just be prepared to have merge conflicts through the
And
entirety of this project actually. They're
okay.
called merge conflicts. You learned about them during the onboarding session. You learned about them during the onboarding session, but I think it was months ago, and I'm sure you've forgotten. But
Yeah,
they're called
yeah,
merge
yeah.
conflicts, and you'll have to work with them actually. And because
Yes,
each time you pull and your partner has changed something on the same file, it
yes,
won't be able to merge with the files that you currently have. So you're going to have to change the merging and all that. So
yeah.
I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link to when Martin actually discussed that. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm looking for the video right now. But then,
Okay.
so you're going to have merge conflicts now. As for it's a collaborative task. So let me explain something. So there's something called, it's programming, and you won't, how do I say this, it's not mandatory that you'll be asking on task one and your partner asks on task two. So if you understand what Julian said that each of you has to understand every single line of code that your partner pushes to your repo. Okay,
Yeah,
so I wouldn't advise that you work on different tasks at the same time. You may do that. It's not like written in the stars that you don't have to do that. You may do that, but I wouldn't advise that. I would advise that you come up with an algorithm together with your partner, and then after you do that, then you just implement that algorithm in code, because you understand that with software engineering, the writing code is the last task that you'll have to do, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We do the pseudocodes or flowcharts first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
understand the concepts. Yeah,
okay. So now on that actually, on working on the same file, you're going to have merge conflict. So you're going to have to edit your file to meet the to resolve that conflict, and then merge the file, and then you'll have to move on. So okay, that video, it's doesn't have a lot of views, but then I'm going to be putting it in the chat. It's a great resource for collaboration in Git. So keep in mind
okay.
for that. Okay. Any have I answered your question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. Samuel, can you hear me,
Yeah,
please?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Destiny.
Okay, I'm also there's also another way to approach that. Here's how I think this question is. Let's say you're trying to implement for unsigned int and your partner is trying to implement for hexadecimal. It's possible you guys can maybe use branching, but that might be, I would not really say it's not really difficult. You can practice to implement your own feature completely in a branch, and then your partner implements the other one in a different branch, and you guys come together to merge both branches to the main. That way it's easier to resolve merge conflict rather than one person. You can resolve it before merging. And then secondly, you can as well, let's say, decide to completely implement, if you're scared of implementing it on same page or same file as your partner, to avoid merge conflict, you can decide to make life easier for you. You can decide to implement the new feature in a new file, and then while your partner is implementing the other feature on the other file. For the printf, I don't see between task one and task two. You can actually implement most tasks independent of another, but some tasks, to be honest, depend
They depend on each other.
on others.
Yeah.
Yeah, some tasks depend on others, but when you get to the advanced to implement most things,
But
yeah,
for the
yeah,
mandatory
so
tasks,
some tasks
they
depend
don't
on
need that.
each other. So for some, if you've not implemented int how to print an integer, then you might not be able to implement how to print outside it.
Okay. Elias, I see your hand is up.
Okay, I think yeah.
Thank you, Des.
Okay, Elias.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you can ask a question, please. I think
yeah,
Elias.
yeah.
Yes.
I waiting for
I'm
him to
sorry I can't
finish.
pronounce your name.
Thank you, thank you.
Adato. I'm sorry, please. You can unmute and speak.
It's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Elias.
All right. So I have like two questions. First, it is do we need to do only the mandatory tasks or we need to do all the tasks first?
Well, to answer that question,
What?
okay, first off, you don't need to
Mhm.
do only the mandatory. It's like any other project of ALX. The mandatory tasks are good and great, but
Mhm.
you're free to have more than one to handle the advanced tasks yourself. Okay? Yeah,
All right.
it's not that if you handle the advanced tasks there's a problem. No, there's no problem. You can handle the advanced tasks.
All
Then
right. All right.
okay.
Mhm.
And then for the second question,
Yes. Yeah. To do this project, do we need to go like one task, and then the other task, or we need to implement everything at once?
well, for that I would advise you go stepwise. But
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
choose
Advise me.
to implement everything at once. You could choose to implement one task at a time, but you could also choose to implement everything at once. I mean, it's totally up to you. You could just help yourself out. But well, since software engineering is about building steps, I would advise you do one task at a time, but it's not mandatory. You can choose to just implement all the specifiers at once and all the return values at once. But I would advise you do them stepwise.
Yeah, this thing is confusing me. Like when, for example, we're gonna handle the integers, yeah,
Yes.
and then we need to handle the integer, but with the present of the flags. So we need to change that function that handles the integers
Or you're talking about the advanced tasks.
about everything. Yeah, yeah, about advanced also.
Or then that's just it. I mean, if you just work with the tasks. So for the advanced tasks, they only look at the precision width. They handle floating point and the precision width, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those tasks, you'll just have to edit the integer and floating point functions that you wrote to handle those particular test cases, and you'll be fine.
All right. All right. All right. This project is a little bit complicated, but we're gonna figure it out.
Okay, it's not that complicated. I mean, it's a simple variadic functions. I think Destiny can explain something on variadic functions, right?
Yeah, yeah, I understand the variadic function, but what I don't understand is that combination between the weights, the flags, and the specifiers. Like we're gonna put them all together to handle the output.
Yeah, I understand you. You're going to put
That's
them
what
all together to handle.
exactly.
Okay, so for that, actually, see, you just have to edit the characters, the how you're printing it. So for the flags, for example, the point 2f. So it's a for the, you check for in that case, actually, a simple algorithm is when it encounters a percent sign, check if there is a point and the number after the point, and then the
Yeah,
specifier given. Just that.
but this is only one test case.
You're saying?
I see that what you have just said, it is just like only one test case. We need to put like a lot of test cases.
Well, then you just you work with them as you go. Of
All
course,
right, all right.
I've not given you every single thing you need to know on Printf.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mohalefa.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you, guys.
Okay. So, how about the others? How's Abdos? Abdos Daniel Kipchumba.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Yeah. How's you? I remember you said you hadn't started your Printf yet.
Yeah, I didn't start yet. I am planning tomorrow. I will start.
Well, don't procrastinate for too long. You understand? You understand that Destiny has just shared the video where Martin is talking about collaboration in Git. Okay, so let me so that so if in, so you can watch that video and see Martin's advice. Martin, the senior technical mentor for ALX. Okay,
Yes,
so I was
I
telling
know,
I was telling
I know how to. Yeah, yeah.
I was
Go
telling
ahead.
Abdos, if you procrastinate for too long, you'll be surprised the deadline has reached and you haven't even started. You can only print a string to the standard output and you can't even do anything about it. And
Yeah,
just don't take too long to start actually.
yeah. And no, no, tomorrow I will start with my. I think I talked with my partner in the. This is 10 minutes ago, and it's tell me tomorrow we will start.
Oh, that's
We'll
fine.
start to see what
What?
is the suffering and what is the difficulties we find in that printf. But I think seriously, it's a little difficult.
It's not that difficult. It's an extension of the functions we've been writing. It's not that difficult.
Like, yeah, like I said to Disney, I understand the lessons, but I can't collect it in one project. Like Elias said, mm, I don't know how to handle it in one case.
Okay, so you'll just figure it out with your partner.
Yes, but we're trying. We're here to trying and trying and do something.
Uh, just make sure you understand why your code works or why it doesn't work, according to what
Yeah,
we're taught by
and
Julia.
yeah, and also can you explain a little bit about pointer
Function pointers.
function? Yes,
Okay, so
is it like a pointer or there is some different?
well, it's technically a pointer. It points to the address where the function is located. But then when you would call a function pointer, it points to the start of text. So it has to do with how functions are stored in memory. So when your functions are stored in a stack, and the main
Yeah,
function has its own stack frame. But then when you call a function pointer, you still have to give it the arguments that come with it, and it points to the start of the text of the function. And function execution start from the text. Well, okay, we'll just have a session on function pointers, but the long and short of it is that functions pointers, they provide a shorter way to pass functions as arguments. Okay,
yeah.
so that when you
Is
use function pointers, you can pass a function as an argument to another function, and that's why they're so incredibly popular. And the thing about them, so when you use a function pointer, instead of wondering about how they're concerned in memory, so just remember that a pointer to a function has to have the same arguments, the same number of arguments, the same argument types, and the same return value. Okay, so
yeah.
for example, in the printf, actually, you'll realize that I know you haven't started it, but then for those who started, I think they have realized that most of their functions they take a list variable and they return an integer. And you could define a function pointer that takes a list variable and returns an integer, and then use that pointer to point to use pointers of such nature to point to multiple functions. Okay.
And also we use values to set a variable, and we use the start to initialize it or not,
Yeah, to initialize it so that you begin
and
so that
the arg to sort value.
yeah to
Yeah,
put the
to get to
values.
the value.
Okay.
Yeah, and the end to end the program or the project.
Yeah, it performs a cleanup
To end the
operation.
list. No, don't use it to create the list.
Yes, thank you. I understand now.
Okay, how about you, Bear?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm fine. Okay, so I see your hand is up.
Uh, yes. So yeah, I have my first question is
Yes.
about Printf,
Okay.
and I wrote the question, and I don't know where am I supposed to start. For example, I already create a putchar, and I create a main.h. After that, I try to do the first task about the zero task, not the first task, the zero task. And during this,
So let me
hello?
ask you this: did you
Yes.
develop an algorithm before you began the task, or did you just go to develop to the task directly?
No, I write a pseudocode with my on my book.
Yes.
So first, in for me, I need to. I this is why I start by create a putchar and a
No,
printf.
you need to hear for my question. So the question is, before you started working on your printf, did you develop, say for example, write a flowchart or write the sequence of steps, write the pseudo code on how your printf will work before you developed your pushchart, that is.
Yes, I try to do this in my book. I don't. I try to do this in my copybook.
And how did that go?
So first things, I think that I'm supposed to start with the to create all file I need to this task.
I'm not hearing you. You're saying you need to disk task.
What?
So okay, here's you said you don't know where to start, right? You've created your pushchart, right?
Yes, I create my picture
Okay.
and I create a man.h.
Okay. So here's what I would advise actually. Since you said you don't know how to start. So I would advise that you you've created your puchar and your main.h. So for example, for task 0 where you're asked to print a character and a string and a percent, to handle those cases. So what I would advise you to do is that write down how you expect your printf to do to those cases. For example, you have a puchar. So why do you have that puchar? Why, according to you said you wrote down an algorithm. Why did you need the puchar function?
So first, I know that to do this task, I know to use the function variadic, the function variadic.
The
This is
variadic
why,
function.
yes, the variadic function. So I first I start to to declare a variable. After that, I did the same as the last task, the last exercise.
So okay.
So I try to, in this case, I use the for loops and if.
Okay, you
And
see, okay. Here's the thing. I would advise you. You see, if you actually develop an algorithm and the steps you're supposed to follow, you should be stuck where to start before you begin the code. Okay, that's the point where you should be
okay,
stuck where to start.
okay,
Unless I don't get you clearly, because you should just write down the steps your code intends to follow for you to write a printf. For example, your putchar is supposed to print a character to the standard output, right?
yes,
So in that case, you should figure out how to use that putchar to print every single character you're given, or rather every single character you want to print to the standard output. Okay.
mm,
Yeah, so
yes,
and then so that's how you use that. So you write how what you expect to do, what you want the printf function to do. Write down what you want the printf function to do. For example, you want this printf function to print the character format that it is given, and then to print also the variable number of argument and their types that it has been given to the standard output, and then to count those characters. Now, once you do that, then you know you'll be making a function that prints characters to the standard output. It gets variable number of arguments and also prints them while counting the characters and prints them to the standard output. But then you don't start in any project. You don't start by the making a header file or writing one function that you think you'll need. You start by developing the steps that you'll need, the pseudocode. Okay,
okay,
so if you develop the pseudocode, then of course you'll need the loops. Of course, you'll need the loops. I agree. But then if you develop the pseudocode, you will know why you need the loops or why you will not need the loops. You'll know whether you need a while loop or whether you need a do while loop or a for loop or any other loop that you may need. And that's, I think that's the problem that you have. You didn't fully write this algorithm and the pseudocode before you began working on your printf. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Is there another person who is willing to ask to?
Can you explain a little bit about variadic function?
Destiny? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
Are you tired? If you're tired or something like that, just
No. It's
just
not that
take a
I'm
break.
tired. It's just that Destiny is an expert on this matter. So variadic functions. You need an explanation of variadic functions.
Yeah, and we can use variadic function.
Okay, so let me see a presentation I made on variadic functions.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So allow me to share my screen. So variadic functions, they basically take a variable number of arguments, and the variable number of arguments don't have to be of the same type. Okay, so here we have our presentation. It says it has sort of a variadic function. So it's a function that takes, so as you can see here, we've been told it takes a variable number of arguments, and the arguments need not be of the same type. Okay.
Yeah.
Abdas.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you can see it, right?
Yeah.
There, it
Yeah,
takes
I
a
can
variable
see. I
number
can
of
see.
arguments, and it also takes variable type of argument. So, for example, you can pass an int, a string, a char, a float, a dub, and it would be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's now that we understand what variadic function is.
And this format, what means this format? Is just a pointer, or what is that?
It's a character pointer. It's a string of characters.
Yeah, just name is that's meaning.
The meaning of the format.
So
Yeah.
this format can be anything, the integer, in float, anything.
No, not the format. The ellipsis is what represents the variable. The ellipsis. Okay, the
Oh,
ellipsis after the format. The format
yeah.
is a character. It's a pointer to a character. Rather, it's a string. In this case, it's an array of characters. So a
Yeah.
constant. I'm sure you learned about the const keyword and how you can manipulate it. So
Yeah, and we set const. This is means there is no change. The format is not changing.
The constant.
yeah. It means the format is constant.
Yes.
Yeah. So continue.
So and no, the format is not. It's not that the format is not changing. It's that the characters are passed. The characters passed have to be constant. That they're not changing actually. You do not come
Yeah,
later to
it's
change.
not format. Yeah.
Yeah. So the format is the string. When you pass printf, you'll be writing something, right? Whether it's let's start with a simple sentence like I wrote. So let's start with the simple sentence is the array of characters that is represented by format.
Yeah.
Okay. And the ellipsis in this case, the ellipsis, you see the ellipsis, the three dots after format.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I know
normally,
what is the ellipsis. It's meaning you can add what you want in this
yeah,
function.
and that what you want is any number of arguments or any
Yeah,
number of, what is it called? Any number of
of
arguments of whatever type that you deem necessary. Now that's what the ellipsis means. Now the ellipsis is what makes the function variadic. When the compiler sees an ellipsis, it knows that this function takes a variable number of arguments. Okay.
yeah,
So that's all on variadic functions. Now, okay, but then that's just the best. We just pass the best, the minimal point. So let's see. So how to use a variadic function? So you need the variadic functions that defines the standard argument header file that is there. Okay. So how do I explain this? So when you declare the var list is a data type. It's a data type like int, char, okay,
Yeah,
like
it's
float, okay.
a valist. You can set a variable in valist.
Yeah, you set a var list variable, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so
Variable.
that var list is a variable type. It's a data type. It's a data type just like int, just like it's a data type. You understand what a data
yeah,
type is, right?
yeah. I understand. I
So it's a
understand that.
data type. Now that
Yeah,
you declare a var list variable because when you're finally using the var arg functions to get the variadic function, you'll use the var list variable and the type you want to convert it to. Okay.
yeah.
So
And
so the var start function, it actually initializes. You'll pass the var start function with the var start function will take two types, a var list variable and what is it? And the last count before the ellipsis that you gave in the prototype of the function, okay.
yeah, like format.
Yeah, you'll for example in this case you'll take format and the list variable that you defined on top there, and then that will initialize the variadic variables, and then you'll use the var arg function to get them one at a time. So when you declare var arg, it takes the first that is following, and then when you use the var arg function again, it gets the second, and like that. Okay.
Yeah, you use the arc to time to call the first variable and the second variable.
However number of times you wish. And when you call var
Yeah,
arg, the var arg, what the
yeah,
var arg will do, it will convert the var list data type into whatever data type you need to use. So for example, we can use the var arg to convert to an integer. Okay, so you say var arg, and then the var list data type that you have, for example, if it was var list arg, you'll take var list arg, then in brackets you'll say var arg, then in brackets arg and an int, so that you have so that you convert it to an integer, and then you typecast it so that you can work with an integer. But you can't work with the list data type. You can't print it out. You can't really do a lot with the list data type except pass it to a var arg function and convert it to the data type that you can actually use, whether it's a float, a string, or whatever the thing you need.
yeah,
Okay. So, and when you finish, you need to use the var end function to perform a cleanup operation. Okay.
yeah. If I use the and is not necessary to use a return zero or like that.
Oh, it is necessary. The var end will clean up the variadic thing, not the return. It will not return the. It is necessary to return zero, or to return the value that your
Yeah,
function is adding.
yeah, I understand.
Okay. The var end function simply says you can now no longer use variadic variables. Okay. You can now no longer call var again. Okay. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Another question.
Uh, Tell me what is help to give us the variadic function. It's what how can I say that?
I'm not understanding you.
Just continue until I see what until I thinking what can I say.
You're saying, Abdos?
Yes, I am here.
You're saying what
Just
exactly? I can't hear you. What are you saying?
yeah,
You can you can continue.
yeah. Just continue.
With the presentation. The presentation is over actually. Okay, you don't need a lot.
No, no.
That's all on. You're saying?
Yes, yes. This one.
Okay, I mean, what's wrong with this one? I mean, so it's simply an example of a printf.
Okay, okay. I understood.
Okay. So so
Question.
okay, why don't you ask the question you wanted to ask, Abdos, about the arg function simply pulls the variadic variables that you've defined later. It
I want to say what is what is the goal that that variadic function give us to our code?
The goal is that you may be able to take a variable number of arguments, okay? So for example, when you want to print something out, okay? When you want to print, do you tell the computer that you want to print a character or an integer or a float? You just try to print. Yeah, so you just print.
Yeah, there is also variadic function is not necessary to use printf or something like that. Just we use valist and the stat.
It is necessary to use a variadic function. It is very necessary to use a variadic function. Without understanding variadic, printf is a variadic function. It shouldn't be able to do 90% of the things it does if it wasn't a variadic function. So variadic functions, they are used actually. I don't think it sometimes you need a variable number of arguments. So for example, like printf, you have to
Yeah,
print an integer, a string, a float, okay? And when you're
yeah,
defining, so in this case, you're given the opportunity to actually do that without having to customize each time, so without having to customize a function to print an integer, a float, and a string for each time you want to print something to the standard output, okay? You just use a variadic function like printf that takes a variable number of arguments and a variable number of and a variable types of arguments. So that's the importance of variadic functions. They're incredibly important, as you'll soon realize.
yes, I understand. Thanks so much, Zimbo.
And another thing, and I know you may not know this, but the printf you're using will be important when you're writing your shell, okay? Because for the
Yeah,
shell, you'll not be allowed to use the standard printf, so you'll have to develop your own printf. And it would be great if you developed a good printf here so that you don't have to redevelop a printf again.
yes,
Okay, Abdus.
yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other question? Daniel. Okay, is there any other question?
I think it's is it necessary to write like in our project in printf? It's is necessary to write like task 0. I write it alone or just I collect it with other tasks. Like I write just one tasks. Like I write one function or what is name.
Of course, it will depend on the tasks and how you go with the tasks. Of course, for task zero, you just to create a function, not just to create a task zero file or task zero something. You'll just be asked to create a function that does this and this, then you'll do that, and then you'll move on from there.
Yeah. So I can collect 4 tasks or 3 tasks.
I'm four. Do you mean 4 files or you can do the number of tasks that you wish, including the advanced tasks.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you checked the Google Meet, actually
Is that
the messages, the chat, I've sent
yeah,
a
you
link
send
to a form. Okay.
some document.
Yeah, it's a document. It's a form where you're supposed to fill out how the session has been, because as I can see, many of you are leaving the meeting seeing as you don't have many questions. So you can at least fill it out so that we know how to improve the session next time for you, so that you can handle printf well. We'll be having another session on Tuesday and Wednesday at the same time. Okay.
Tuesday.
You,
Okay. Thank you.
you can just keep it on the Slack and see what happens in the Slack. And then but I would advise you, so fill those forms so that we understand how to help you more and how to answer your questions, how to make these sessions more helpful for you. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't you want these sessions to be more helpful and more informative for you?
Yes. Until tomorrow I can try to write the code alone without use copy paste.
I wouldn't advise you to copy paste. But anyway, either way, fill the form so that, and I'll be I've been recording this session, and I'll be posting a link to the video on YouTube. Okay, in about an hour
Yes.
before I go to bed, I'll be posting it on YouTube. So in case there's something you need to go over again, you can do that. And while you're on that, you can go to YouTube and search more on variadic functions and see how you can use them on your printer. Okay,
Yeah.
and
And
just
also, I have other question.
okay, ask.
In the task 0, it's tell us handle this character or what is name.
Oh,
How can I handle that? What is meaning handle?
it means
It's
it means
yeah,
it means that you should work. You know the way you use printf. You say printf percent
yeah,
c.
yeah. I can, yeah,
Yeah, it
I
means
know how to use
replicate
it.
that behavior. That's what it means. It means handle percent c, percent s, and percent.
Yeah, I just I need to sort it like the user enter something. I write the code who can sort that, who can
Yeah, you write
output
a
that.
code. You write a code that works like printf, that using those format specifiers.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Anzimbo.
Okay,
And
fine. So Daniel, I'll send it to the Slack channel. So you are on Slack, right?
uh,
Okay, so keep an eye out for Slack, so that way I'll send it for this particular session. This session that we've had, this session, it will be on the YouTube channel. In case you want to review something, you can go back there. Okay, and if you reach out to me again on Slack, I may help you develop the test suite together with you. Okay, just
Okay,
the
okay.
test suite, not the function itself. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. You have helped so much.
Okay. Thank
I even created so many test cases now.
you.
I just have to I'll test there and there, and then push it just to check if it checks out with the checker.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So you guys have a good day and happy coding. I hope you pass your printf project very well.
We will. We will.
thank you.
Definitely will.
So keep an eye out for Slack and don't forget to fill the form.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.